right, welcome to I'll Take the Over podcast right here on the Boot Hill Sports Network. That is Eddie Derrick, and that is Doug Edwards. What's going on, fellas?
What's
Well, you know,
up?
Doug look like he's eating a little something there.
it's late supper for me. Yeah, it was late
Late
Friday night. Friday at work.
Friday at work, huh? You know what I did today? I played golf.
That must be nice. Well, I'm paying for last night. Me and this guy up here, we went to see Cal Ripken Jr. speak, and I didn't get home till midnight, and then I had to get up and start going. And man, it's been just crazy all day today. But I'm glad it's Friday.
How was that Cal Ripken, man?
Awesome. Yeah.
It was great.
If he's around somewhere close to you and you got a chance to go hear him speak, go because he's good.
Good deal, man. I would have liked to have been there, man. But I was watching you guys, Cooter Wildcats, get a big win over my nephew and the Del C7 Chargers.
Way to go,
Cooter's going to play for another district championship tomorrow at 6 o'clock because they will take on Clarkton in Clarkton for the Class 1 District 1 championship.
Let's go Wildcats.
There you go. Oh, Cooter Wildcats. Hey, listen, I was strolling through the Mizzou football page today, and they're talking about who Mizzou might get for a new AD or whatever, but they called him Cooter Bob something, and somebody in the comments said, "Don't make fun of our good people in Cooter, Missouri." So I thought that was kind of crazy, man. Even up in Columbia, Missouri, they're talking about Cooter, Missouri. So you never know.
Hey, they've had a lot of students go through there from Cooter.
Yeah,
even
Doug Edwards at one time, huh?
Yeah.
He didn't last long, though. He didn't stay too long.
Wasting Mr. and Miss Edwards' money, were you?
No, actually, I had a free ride, but I just
did you?
Yeah, I had a free ride, but I didn't take advantage of it. Now I'm working my butt off and having to eat, frozen pizza here late on a Friday night. So there you go, kids. Stay in school, get an education.
That's right, kids. You see that guy in the bottom there? Don't be that guy.
That's right, except when it comes to knowledge of sports.
Oh, here we go. Speaking of knowledge of sports, I think you cost Eddie a parlay earlier with that insight you gave him earlier.
Man,
Columbia was a lock.
Yeah, that was almost a lock. That Ivy League, Columbia.
That wasn't your lock of the week, all right?
No, it wasn't my lock of the week.
Hey, that was a dummy lock. You know how they dummy lock?
Hey, I lost.
The old dummy lock.
I lost with it too, so
Game 1 LSU Florida State was a lock too. I lost money on.
Woo.
I don't remember that being a lock, but it should have been.
I got the text.
It should have been a lock, that's for sure. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to talk about some college basketball here. We're going to get into the top 25 off the bat. BYU comes in at number 25, Florida at 24. I'll tell you what, Florida's playing good. They moved up 11 spots. Texas Tech
beat Alabama the other day.
Yep, that is true. They sure should have, but they didn't. 23 is Texas Tech. The Red Raiders, guns up. Colorado State, Washington State, and South Carolina. Any thoughts on 20 through 25, gentlemen?
Sounds okay to me.
About like I expected it.
Right on. So, let's see. South Carolina at number 20. They moved down 9 spots as they continue to fall on the poll after being up, I believe, as high as 11 at one time.
Yeah.
San Diego State, a big mover, as they moved 10 spots to number 19. St. Mary's comes in at number 18 this week, their first ranking of the year. Kentucky at 17. The Dayton Flyers at 16. Creighton at 15. Creighton might be a team to watch. They're out of the Big East, man. I like them a lot. Auburn at 14. Alabama at 13. Illinois at 12. Baylor at 11. And North Carolina, your Tar Heels, Dougie, at number 10. Any thoughts on those?
I got some.
Oh, here. We should have known this.
Well, first off, is Illinois gave a game away the other night. If y'all remember that, if y'all saw that with Penn State, they were up 7-8 points with under a minute to go. End up losing by 1. They fouled it. They missed a free throw. They're up by 2. Few seconds left, missed a free throw, fouled a guy on a 3-pointer. He hits all 3 free throws, so they lost by 1 to Penn State. So they're dropping. Kentucky got beat at the buzzer by LSU during this week. Loved that. That was a great game back and forth. Kentucky got up by 15 at one point, so they blew another lead. North Carolina, none of those rankings really matter. They can have us at 10. That's okay, because if y'all saw Saturday, and I think it's going to be every Saturday from now on, the actual selection committee, the ones that seeds the teams, they're coming out with their top 4
That's
seeds
right.
in each division. We were, and I don't agree with this, even though I'm a Tar Heel fan. They had us as number 5 overall, the top number 2 seed in the brackets. I don't see that, but I was glad they had it. But man, they must be kin to that football committee that put Alabama and Texas in over Florida State. I don't know. Something's going on. They had Purdue on number 1 overall.
Yeah, that ain't gonna hold up no more after what Purdue stunk it up.
Yeah.
Man, I'm big on St. Mary's. I don't know if y'all have watched them. They're good.
Watched them the other night, man.
Yeah.
Defense, they shoot almost 50% from the field as a team. Those boys are covering machines too.
Yeah, I watched
they,
them over against San Francisco.
Yeah, that's the
night.
game I watched. You got to stay up late to watch them.
You ain't lying.
How about that Arizona State? I stayed up because we got home so late from watching. I got home so late from going to hear Cal Ripken. And when I got home, I'm thinking everything's over. Well, I checked on it, and it's Arizona, Washington State going into overtime.
Yeah.
I was like, heck yeah. It lasted till almost 1 a.m. our time.
Yeah, that's why you so tired then right there.
Yeah.
Got home and watched the basketball game.
He had to watch his boy Caleb Love.
Takes a while to wind down.
All right, so here we go. Number 9, Kansas. Number 8, Blue Devils, baby.
Woo-hoo.
Number 7, Marquette. Iowa State at 6. Tennessee. Tell you what, guys, that's a dangerous team too. Is Connect can fill it up. Arizona ranked number 4. I don't agree with that one. I've seen Arizona play a few times, and speaking of Caleb Love, I don't think his Wildcats are. They do got them as one of the top seeds in the region. I don't believe that either. But 3 is Purdue, 2 is Houston, and UConn, who laid an egg the other night and got beat, but they're still number 1 team in the nation, and it's going to be hard to beat UConn.
I tell you what, if Houston comes this Saturday and beats Baylor, they might just swap them two. You might see Houston as number 1. That's a tough team.
Well, their defense is tough, man.
Yeah,
which we'll talk about Houston here in a minute, man. All right, man. You were talking about ways to lose ball games, and I know I keep up with the Missouri high school basketball games around here. Crothersville and Portersville played the other night in the districts. Portersville ended up beating Crothersville 75-74, but Crothersville was up and got a technical call with, I believe there was a little bit of time left on the clock, like, I don't know, 2 points, something seconds or whatever, but a JV player that was on the bench all night long ran out onto the court too early.
Oh, no.
So they called it technical on him. The kid makes both free throws and just drains it, and Portersville beats Crothersville 74-73 and ends their season.
That's a bad loss right there.
Man, that's terrible, man. Terrible way to lose.
That kid's got to feel bad,
Oh, I'm sure,
I'm
man.
sure he didn't do it on purpose, and I'm sure
he's like,
but by the letter of the rule, that is
yeah, it's a T.
Yeah.
He's a sophomore, man. So yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, he learned a hard lesson right there.
Man, no doubt, man. Especially after a year what Crothersville's been through, with getting kicked out of conference and everything. But hey, JB was at that Penn State game. Our buddy Josh usually does the podcast with us. They
Oh
played it.
yeah,
They played
yeah,
it in their old arena that holds about 6,000 people. He said that place was rocking, man. He said he
yeah,
loved it because they're all right there on the court, basically. Instead
yeah.
of all these big stadiums they play in nowadays,
Right.
man, or arenas, whatever you
That's
want to call them.
that's a good win. Illinois has got a good team. They really are. They're a sneaker
Yeah.
team right there to
Yeah.
watch. And Eddie's football team, Nebraska. They are to be. I hadn't heard, but they are to be bubble talk with them.
They
a
got
pretty
them in
good
right
record.
now. They got some shooters.
Yeah, what are they? What's their record? 19-8, something like
I
that.
think it's 19-8 or 18-8.
Yeah,
And they
I
beat
mean-
Purdue, Wisconsin. I mean, they got some ranked wins in their Michigan State. They took them out.
yeah. I think they should be one of the ones they're talking about putting in, but I haven't heard them mentioned. I don't know where they.
Go ahead, Doug.
I don't know where they have them. I don't know where Lenardi or any of those guys kind of have them.
Yeah.
But Michigan State was preseason number 4, guys. Where have they
Right.
gone?
They've lost 10, 11 games.
Man, yeah, and they started out the year all right. But
And
man,
I think they still the projecting people Lenardi and them still have them in. One of the last.
Well, they got up. They're up to like 4th or 5th in the Big Ten. They're on a little run right now.
Yeah. Well, they got beat this week, I think.
Oh, so okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, they had been on a little roll, but I think they got beat this week. Trying to think of who it was that got them.
all right, guys, we'll go ahead and start off with our picks. And we're going to start off with 2 teams that we normally wouldn't even be discussing, but one of them, I guess both of them really is having pretty good years. George Mason at Loyola Chicago. Sister June still hanging around there, I guess, for the Ramblers, winning ball games. And George Mason is 18-8, 7-6 in the Atlantic 10. Loyola Chicago is 19-7, 11-2 in the Atlantic 10. Leading the way for George Mason is Hall with 17 points a game. Watson leads the way for the Ramblers at 13 a game. Hall also leads the team in rebounds for the Patriots at 8.6. Rubin for the Ramblers at 4.7 rebounds a game. George Mason's last 5, they beat Dayton, beat George Washington, beat Davidson. They lost to Loyola Chicago, so this is a rematch game. And then they lost to UMass. Loyola Chicago's last 5, they beat Rhode Island, St. Joe's, George Washington, George Mason, and Davidson. So they are on the road, guys. The Ramblers are 12-2 at home, so that should tell you a lot, and that tells me all I need to know. The Ramblers are going to win at home and beat the Patriots.
Who you got picking second?
Go ahead.
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you about George Mason. They cost me the other day. I bet Dayton over them, and they messed around. They beat Dayton, but that was at George Mason. I just thought Dayton could go in there and get them. I haven't liked George Mason since it was like 2012, somewhere in there. They beat North Carolina in the NCAA tournament. That was the year that George Mason made a run. I think they went to the Final Four that year. Yeah,
That's right.
Was Larranaga their coach?
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
Yes.
Jim Larranaga was their coach. I haven't liked George Mason since then. You don't beat my Tar Heels like that. I mean,
boy, that's holding a grudge right there, boy.
Exactly. With all that being said, I'm going Loyola Chicago. I hope they pound them.
Pound them.
And then on top of that, George Mason 4-5 on the road. I'm going Ramblers.
There you go. It's a community lock, as Doug would say.
Yep.
All right, our next one has the Butler Bulldogs at 16-11, 7-9 in the conference against the Seton Hall Pirates, who are 17-9, 10-5 in the conference, and that conference is the Big East. It looks like the over and under is 144.5. Seton Hall is favored by 3.5. Season leaders for the Butler Bulldogs, Brooks averaging 15.1 points per game. Richmond for Seton Hall at 16.2. Thomas is the leading rebounder for Butler at 6.1. Becado, I believe is how you pronounce it, for Seton Hall at 7.5 rebounds per game. Butler is averaging 78 a game. Seton Hall 73 points allowed. Butler at 73.9. Seton Hall at 69.1. Butler's last 5 lost to Villanova, lost to Creighton, lost to Marquette, beat Providence, and lost to Connecticut. So their last 5, they have really been struggling. Meanwhile, Seton Hall's last 5, they beat St. John's, beat Xavier, lost to Villanova, and they got pounded at Villanova 80-54. They beat Georgetown 76-70 and beat DePaul. I don't listen to this score. Beat DePaul 72-39. Boy, that sounds like a junior varsity game on a Tuesday night in Southeast Missouri there. Pirates have gone 11-3 in home games. Seton Hall is 8 in the Big East, scoring with 73.2. The Bulldogs are 7-9 against Big East opponents. So with that being said, to me, it's an easy game. I don't mind giving up the 3.5, and I'm going to take the Pirates. For old PJ Carter, listen, Mo.
Oh, yeah. Where's old boy to choke him? What's the old boy played for Three Rivers? We talked about him the other day.
Sprewell.
Latrell Sprewell. Yeah, we need Latrell Sprewell. He'll choke out PJ Carter. But I'm surprised. Both of these teams I've heard mentioned, kind of right around there. So they both need a win real bad to keep any kind of bubble hopes alive, I think. But I'm going to go with the upset. Butler's. I'm surprised at that record you just said, because I think a lot of them games were pretty close. I don't know, but they've been playing better ball, and I think they're going to get it done on the road. Give me Butler.
Butler's going to do it at Seton Hall.
Man,
Butler is going to do it.
I'm with you on they've been in competitive games, but Shaheen Holloway from St. Peter straight to Seton Hall and got them winning already. I'm riding Seton Hall.
There we go, baby. Pirates, baby.
I'll be out on that island. I'm on Gibson's Island there.
Right on the island, huh? Well, got to hang out with Mr. Wilson every once in a while, right?
That's my risk pick.
That's your risk pick. All right, next we're going to move to the Big 12 Conference. And tell you what, Big 12 is probably going to put a lot of teams in this NCAA tournament, guys. I've seen Lenardi talking about it earlier, and he thinks their Big 12 is going to have the most teams of any conference in the NCAA. Right before we came on the air. All right, so here we go. Cincinnati has a 28.1% chance to win. TCU 71.9. The Bearcats are 16-10 on the year, 5-8 in the conference, while the Horned Frogs are 18-8, 7-6 in the conference. Cincinnati you're going to catch 5.5 with Cincinnati. The over and under's 144.5. Skillings is the leading scorer for the Bearcats at 12.2. Miller for the Horned Frogs at 16.1 a game. Cincinnati gets 75.6 a game. TCU 81.5. Defensive wise, they're both about 70 points a game. Cincinnati's last 5, they lost to Oklahoma State, Central Florida, which is a good team, I think. Iowa State, that's a tough team too, guys. They got a potential there to be Final Four. Houston, they lost to it, and then they beat Texas Tech, which is a pretty good, solid team. TCU's last 5, they lost to that Texas Tech team, 82-81, in a thriller. And then they beat Kansas State, beat West Virginia, and they lost to Iowa State and lost to Texas. Let me see here. A little tidbit. The Horned Frogs are 11-2 in home games. This game is at TCU, and I like Jameer Nelson Jr. and the Horned Frogs. Do it. Go Frog!
Yeah, if this game was in Cincy, I probably would go the other way. I think Cincy might could take them at home, but that loss to Oklahoma State shocks me too, man. That Oklahoma State's bad this year. I guess that was on the road in Stillwater. I don't know. But, yeah, I got to take the Horned Frogs. TCU's going to win this one.
I'm going just because of home court, community lock. I think TCU gets them.
All right, now we're going to move on to a St. Bonaventure, the Bonnies, 16-10, taking on the UMass Minutemen, who are 17-9. St. Bonnie is 7-7 in the conference, and UMass 8-6 in the conference. Matchup predictor has St. Bonnie at 34.9 and UMass at 65.1. Over and under is 145. And UMass is favored by 4.5. Venning is the leading scorer for the Bonnies at 14.3. Cohen for UMass at 16.3. Pride leads the St. Bonnies and rebounding is at 6.3. Cross for UMass at 8.4. Assist-wise, Woods at 3.7 a game and Cross 3.2 for UMass. St. Bonnie is averaging 73.8. UMass at 79.9 points allowed. St. Bonnie is only giving up 67.6. UMass gives up 71.4. St. Bonnie's last 5, they lost to LaSalle 72-59. Beat Davidson in a thriller 81-80 in overtime. Beat Fordham 85-67. Lost to Duquesne 75-69. And they beat the Minutemen 79-73 earlier in the year. That was back on February the 7th. UMass last 5. They beat VCU. They lost to LaSalle 82-81. Boy, that was a good one. And they beat the Spiders of Richmond 69-59. They beat Rhode Island. And they lost, of course, to St. Bonnie that we talked about earlier. So that is all the stats I got on them, guys. With my mama's name is Bonita, and that's close enough to Bonnie. So I'm going to say go Bonnies, baby, in the upset. Let's get them.
All right. Could happen, but I don't believe that it will. I think you got to go with the Minutemen. This is a revenge game. Minutemen at home. I think pretty evenly matched teams. They played them a good game at St. Bonnie, and I think they're going to do enough to get by with the win here at UMass.
They need it for conference, too. I'm going UMass. This is another one I'd just take the home team. I think UMass gets them.
All right, now we're going to move back to the Big 12, where we got a good game that's going to be on ESPN at 5 o'clock, where the Longhorns of Texas at 17-9, 6-7 in the Big 12 take on the Kansas Jayhawks, who are 20-6, 8-5 in the conference. So the Jayhawks, who usually run away with this conference in the last, I don't know, I think the other day I seen where they had like 17 Big 12 championships and 3 co-championships. So 20 championships in the Big 12 basketball division for Kansas. Over and under is 143.5. KU is favored by 7.5. Matchup predictor, Texas 27%. Jayhawks 73%. Avis leads the way for Texas at 16.9 a game. McCullough Jr., point guard, leads the way for KU at 19 a game. Mitchell is the leading rebounder for the Longhorns at 8.5. And then Dixon, of course, the center for Kansas, averages 11 rebounds a game. Team stats, Texas averages 75.7, KU at 76.6, so very close. And also they are close in points allowed, as Texas is 67.9 and KU is 67.6. So there you go. And you can even go over one more column or two more columns where the field goal percentage, Texas is 47.2, KU is 49.8, and then rebounding, Texas 35 and KU 36. So these teams seem to be evenly matched. Texas last 5, Kansas State, they beat them 62-56. They lost to that Cougar team from Houston 82-61. Beat West Virginia. They lost to Iowa State and beat TCU 77-66. KU's last 5, they beat Oklahoma 67-57 on the road, so that is a good win for KU. But then KU would get beat by the Red Raiders of Texas Tech 79-50. They beat Baylor at home 64-61. They lost to the rivalry K-State 75-70 in overtime at Little Manhattan. And then, of course, they beat Houston at home 78-65. And speaking of the Jayhawks at home, they are 13-0 this year on their home court, guys. So right there should tell you that it's hard to win in KU, baby. So with that being said, I'm going to take the Jayhawks.
Yeah, all I can say is this right here, this horns down, if you can see that. Horns down, baby. I don't care if you ain't supposed to do that anymore. Horns down. Y'all going to the SEC to get easier on you in basketball. Gonna get rougher in other sports, but we'll get a little easier on y'all Texas Longhorns in basketball because SEC ain't much of a basketball conference. Men's, that is. They own women's. But yeah, I don't like Kansas, but man, being in the fog, that Longhorn's going to stumble around. He's going to be blind out there. He can't go find his way in the fog. So Kansas is going to beat them and beat them pretty easily.
Yeah, they can't match up with that big goofy son of a gun Dickinson.
And
I don't know how much. I just can't stand them. But that Johnny Furphy, I like watching that dude play ball.
Good. He can shoot, man. He's a go-getter.
Like you said, they ain't lost at home. It ain't starting this week. It's all Jayhawks.
That's right. The fog's going to be foggy for
every
Kansas opponent that comes in there, especially Longhorns.
What do they call him? Bevo or whatever, the Longhorn? And Bevo.
Yeah, it is Bevo.
Yeah, Bevo going to lose a horn over there. We're stumbling around in the fog.
I got one for you. You know, you're talking about them coming to SEC. I was listening to an SEC podcast the other day, and they had a guy on there. He predicted Texas to go 12-0 this year.
I saw that.
With an SEC schedule. I said, ain't no damn way, brother.
No.
I haven't seen their schedule, but they won't be 12-0.
No, they sure won't. Not in the SEC anyway. No. They'd be lucky to be 8-4.
They're lucky. They're lucky they don't have to play them Tigers, them LSU Tigers this year in football, this coming up year. We get Oklahoma. Everybody either got Oklahoma or Texas for the first year. You get one or the other. So we got
Oklahoma. We got Oklahoma at home.
Yeah.
And they always handled us in the Big 12, so it's payback time.
But there is going to be 12 teams in the playoff this coming year, so Texas might squeeze. I don't know. They're going to lose. They're going to lose 2 or 3 games, like you said.
Yeah. So. All right, now we're going to move back to the SEC basketball talk as we talk about the number 13 Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the number 17 Kentucky Wildcats. Alabama comes in at 19-7, 11-2 in the conference. Kentucky at 18-8, 8-5 in the conference, guys. That's very unusual for Calipari and the Wildcats. Game odds over and unders 179.5. UK is favored by only 1.5. Of course, matchup predictor has Alabama at 61.8, UK at 38.2. Wow, there's a big difference in the matchup predictor. Season leaders, Sears, of course, for Alabama. He's averaging 20.4 a game, and Reeves for Kentucky at 19.7. Nelson, leading rebounder for Alabama at 5.6. Mitchell for UK at 7.5. Points for Alabama is averaging 91 a game, UK at 87.6. So both teams can actually score a lot, and they actually give up a lot. As Alabama gives up 77.4, UK gives up 77.3. So they're right there, neck and neck. Also in field goal percentage, Alabama is 48%, UK is 48.8. And rebounding, Alabama is 40, UK 38.3. Man, I'll tell you, all the way across the stats, guys, they're very even. So it might be that home court advantage, but hey, Kentucky has been beat at Rupp Arena this year, and I'll tell you what, It could happen again today. And I'm going to go Alabama, guys, in the upset here, if you will. And I don't call it an upset, but you're going to catch a 1.5 with Alabama. And I like Sears, and I like the Crimson Tide to get a win at Rupp Arena.
Yeah, I don't like either team, really. But Kentucky Rupp Arena, that's not a home court advantage too much this year so far. I mean, what they lose 3 in a row there at one point. So they finally got them a win. Then they go down to LSU and they got beat at LSU. They're up and down. They look good. They look great. I mean, we got it turned around. You know, Calipari's got it figured out and this and that. And then the next game they'll suck. But I gotta agree with you. I think Alabama, since Nate Oates has been there, I don't like him either. But you can just look at it. They've kind of owned SEC basketball, you know. But I don't buy the SEC. Oh, it's SEC, Big 12 is the 2 best conferences. I don't buy that. I think the Big East, you got to throw the Big East well ahead of SEC. That SEC hadn't won a championship in basketball since 2012. You know, this is a dozen years now, and had only a couple in the Final Four. But with all that being said, and bashing SEC men's basketball, I'm going to take Alabama. They're leading the conference again this year.
Yeah.
You know, when we thought they were down or whatever, this would be a down year after they lost the guys to the pros. And what was the guy that carried the gun, delivered the murder weapon, Brandon, whatever from last year? Yeah.
Right.
But Alabama, I'm going to take Alabama to win it on the road.
You said it ain't home court advantage for them this year. And Nate Oates lets them boys run and gun. If they start hitting a few, they may hit 10 threes in a row. So I'm going to go Bama.
Yeah, they're going to speed. I think they speed them young kids from Kentucky. Kentucky got a lot of good talent, but they're young, inexperienced. They turn the ball. They get sloppy at times. They'll turn the ball over, especially if they get in too big of a hurry. Alabama's going to make them get in a big hurry.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Community lock.
Yeah, we're taking the road dog.
Yeah.
Kentucky is 11-4 at Rupp Arena. So here we go. Going to stick with the SEC. We got South Carolina number 20 at 21-5, 9-4 in the conference, taking on the Ole Miss Rebels, 19-7, 6-7 in the conference. Matchup predictor shows South Carolina 40.1, Ole Miss 59.9. Over and under is 139.5. Ole Miss is favored by 3.5. Johnson is the leading scorer for South Carolina at 13.8. Merle has 17.3 for the Rebels. Rebounding wise, Mack for South Carolina has 5.1 rebounds a game, and Flanagan for the Rebels at 6.6 rebounds a game. Team stats, South Carolina averaging 71.8, Ole Miss 75.8. Points allowed 65.4. South Carolina, Ole Miss 72.2. And guys, this is a must-win for Ole Miss the way I see it. They're on the bubble. They need to get this win. This will be a big win. South Carolina's last 5 lost to LSU 64-63, lost to Auburn 101-61, beat Vandy, beat Ole Miss earlier in the year back on February the 6th, 68-65 in a good one that was in Columbia, South Carolina. And then they beat Georgia 72-62. Ole Miss last 5, they lost to Mississippi State 83-71. And they beat my Missouri Tigers in a game that I was at, and it was a good one. They won that one 79-76. Then they lost to UK 75-63. Lost to South Carolina, as we just discussed, and they lost to Auburn. Guys, I was there at Ole Miss last Saturday night, guys, and that atmosphere is electric. They got this young student manager that cleans the floor. His name is Kyle, and he's got, I forgot what they call it. Something going on with him. But anyway, he fires that crowd up, man, and Ole Miss crowd was behind them. And the Rebels are 14-1 at home this year. With that being said, I'm going to change my pick as I had South Carolina circled, but I'm going to go hotty toddy. Ole Miss, baby.
More you thought about it, the more you went with it.
Yeah, more I read them stats. More I seen that 14-1 at home.
Right. Yeah. Well, South Carolina wasn't, 2 weeks ago, they was everybody's darling, man. They was number 11 in the polls, 20-3, whatever, 19-3, something like that. And, why weren't they ranked higher? They beat Tennessee, which was a great win. They beat, they beat another good team there out of the top team. Did they beat Alabama or going on back? South Carolina. They had 2 good wins right in a row. I know one of them was Tennessee, at Tennessee, I believe. But
I remember the Tennessee win.
Yeah, well, they had another one right back to back with that. But anyway, I'm like you. I think Ole Miss, I don't like them. They've been overrated all year, and Bears getting them playing a little bit better, But I think they'll cover it. I think Ole Miss will win this game at home. I think South Carolina's dropped back down to reality a little bit. And
South Carolina is one of those teams that beat Kentucky at Kentucky, 79-62, and then they beat Mizzou, and then they beat Tennessee. So
there you go. Yeah, I knew they had 2 pretty good road wins right in a row there. So,
yeah.
Give me Ole Miss.
And I think South Carolina 2 in a row, backs against the wall. I'm going road team. Give me the Gamecocks. I'll be the oddball.
Yeah.
You'll hang out at Columbia by itself.
You gotta put all that stuff up.
Oh, she got a pic she wants to tell you about or something?
No.
She wants some of that frozen pizza. Did you eat
She's
it all?
making sure.
Yeah, you done ate all that frozen pizza.
I couldn't eat it all, man.
Can't have nothing.
The podcast time. It came podcast time. I had to quit eating. Start talking.
Man. Feel free to eat, man. It's just a laid back atmosphere here on I'll Take the Over podcasts. All right, man, we're going to move to that Big 12 conference again. And this time we're going to talk about the number 2 Houston Cougars taking on the number 11 team, the Baylor Bears. Houston is 23-3, 10-3 in the conference. Baylor is 19-7, 8-5 in the conference. Over and under is 136.5. Houston is favored by 2.5. Matchup predictor: Houston 72.7, Baylor 27.3. Cryer's the leading scorer for the Cougars at 15 a game. Walter for Baylor at 14 a game. Rebounding wise, Roberts for the Cougars at 7 a game. And Missy for Baylor at 5.7 a game. Sheed is the leading assist leader for Houston. And I'll tell you what, that guy can play that point guard position as he is getting 5.8 assists per game. Dennis, on the other hand, for Baylor, he's averaging 6.6. So those guys that are playing guard for these two teams know how to dish the basketball off. Houston's averaging 73.9 a game and Baylor 82.6. Now, here's a big difference as Houston will tighten up that defense on anybody. They're only giving up 55.3 a game. Baylor, on the other hand, is giving up 71 a game. Houston's last 5, they go 4-1 as they beat Iowa State, Texas, Cincinnati, Oklahoma State. Only loss is back on February the 3rd at KU, losing that one 78-65. Baylor's last 5, they go 3-2. They lost to BYU. They beat West Virginia, beat Oklahoma, lost to KU, and they beat Texas Tech 79-73, guys. The Bears are 13-1 in home games. Baylor is second in Big 12, scoring at 82.6. They've only lost the one home game to TCU, which I think TCU is an excellent team. The Cougars are 10-3 against Big 12 opponents. Houston is 20-2 when it has fewer turnovers. And we know that defense of Houston is good, but I don't know about Baylor, man. They're giving up way too many points a game. And Houston But Baylor at home, man, I don't know. I've kind of thought on this one and thought on it. But I'm going to go, since Baylor is 13-1 at home, I'm going to take them at home. Bears going to win this one.
Well, I'm kind of back and forth on this one too. Since I was going to pick Baylor because I was just sure that both of y'all were picking Houston. But I think Scott Drew can come up with something here. He can look
Great
back.
coach.
He can look back at that Kansas win. Well, Kansas handled them pretty good. Houston pretty good at Kansas. And I really think Drew can come up with something. And you score if you are hitting shots against that team, it's hard for them to keep up with you offensively. I mean, they're gonna make everything difficult for you. But if you're hitting shots, you can get ahead of them a little bit. They're not a good comeback team. I talked myself into it. I'm gonna take Baylor as well.
That home stat did it, didn't it?
Well,
Baylor, they're on my shit list right now. I bet on them the other night.
Oh,
And man, those guards from BYU made them look foolish on the boards. The way Houston gets after D, I think they're going to miss shot, out rebound them. I'm going to take the road team for the third game in a row.
right. Hey,
Hey,
BYU is maybe the toughest place in the Big 12 to play on the road. That's a tough place to play, man. Them folks get after you there.
Provo, Utah, baby.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, anytime you can pick Houston, you're going. That's a safe bet, really, man. I mean, you can't go wrong with number 3 team in the nation.
That's right.
I mean, the last 4 or 5 years, they probably hadn't lost 20 games total.
I tell you what, Kelvin Sampson, he really revived that program, man. That program was really down before he got there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
He's a good coach, man.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We're going to get down to the last 2 games, and they're both in the ACC conference, guys. The number 10 team, the North Carolina Tar Heels, at 20-6 on the year, 12-3 in the conference, take on the Cavaliers of Virginia, who are 20-7, 11-5 in the conference. North Carolina is favored by 2.5. Over and under is 130.5. Matchup predictor: Tar Heels at 65.3, Virginia 34.7. Davis, the leading scorer for UNC, at 21.3, and he could be the player of the year in my eyes. He could be. Beckman for Virginia at 13.9. Rebound wise, Baycock at 10.3, and then Dunn for Virginia at 7.0. North Carolina's they are averaging 82.8 a game, giving up 71.4. Virginia averaging 64.1. Virginia plays at slow tempo, guys, and they got a good defense, as they're only allowing 58.6. Anytime you bet on Virginia, always take the under. That's what I have learned the last few years. Take the under with Virginia. North Carolina's last 5, Virginia Tech, they won that one 96-81. Lost to Syracuse 86-79. Beat Miami, lost to Clemson, and beat our Duke Blue Devils 93-84. Virginia's last 5, guys, and it was ugly the other night. I don't know if you guys watched it.
Yeah.
But they took a ass whooping from the Hokies, guys. 75-41. Oh, yeah. So they're going to be on your shit list too then, huh, Eddie? I can see it already coming. And then they beat Wake Forest, and they lost. Hey, the only loss at home was to the Pittsburgh Panthers, and they lost that game 74-63. They beat Florida State on the road, and they beat Miami at home. They put ass whooping on Miami as well, 60-38. So I don't know what was wrong with the Hurricanes that night. As Doug said, the hurricane was coming, but it never came, did it, Eddie?
That's right. Nope.
Wasn't even a tropical storm.
High winds like it come through Cooter in southeast Missouri last night. Cavaliers have gone 14-1 at home, as I said. So with that being said, and Virginia can definitely play some defense, and they're going to have a chip on their shoulder after that ass whooping they got the other night. Coach Bennett has probably been running those boys to death. I'm going to take Virginia. Go Cavs.
Yeah, you hope it's Virginia. But I tell you, Virginia actually, before Pittsburgh had beat them, they had the longest home winning streak in the nation. 20 some odd games, 22, 23 consecutive home wins. But they, dating back, of course, on in the last year. So they're really hard to beat at Virginia. I don't know what happened with Pittsburgh, but I got to believe that my Tar Heels, I believe they can get the ball out and get the ball in the basket. I mean, even after a made basket, a lot of times we're down there scoring in 5 seconds. 5 seconds off the shot clock, we're down there scoring. We're going to push the ball when we can. And I think Harrison Ingram's an X factor here. He's averaging over double-digit rebounds also during ACC play, not for the year, but during ACC play, he's just become a beast. With Baycott in there, if they slow us down, we can always go inside, draw some fouls. I think UNC is going to win this game. Give me my Heels.
You know, that'll make me sick to say UNC, but golly, that image from Virginia the other night. Give me the Heels. Man.
Wow, I cannot believe he said that.
It's making me sick to my stomach. They just, man, it was ugly, and I think North Carolina hit enough shots. They score 50, they win.
I already had him wrote down as picking Virginia here, but hey, he's finally wisening up after all these years.
It's killing me to. I didn't go with. I swapped a few last time, and that's why we tied. So I'm trying to beat you this week.
I've been after him over 30, 30 years plus. So he's finally getting smart. He's gonna start picking the Heels.
No. I think he bumped his head today or something.
He'll be wearing a couple more years. He'd be wearing a jersey.
That ain't happening.
Hey, you said North Carolina goes down and scores in about 5 seconds. I think if you watch the Duke game, we realize that they walk a lot. That's how they get down the court so quick.
Pass the ball, man. You can pass it quicker.
3 fouls in a half, too.
Ball travels quicker in the air than it does running with it or dribbling it.
All right, man. We go to our last and final game, and we're going to stay in the ACC as we're going to talk about mine and Eddie's Duke Blue Devils coming in number 8 in the nation at 21-5, 12-3 in that ACC conference that might be just a title around the corner for the Blue Devils, baby. But first, they're going to have to go on the road to a very tough place to play, and that's going against Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons at 17-9, 9-6 in the conference. Wake Forest is going to be favored by 1.5. Duke over and under is 152. Yeah, it's at 1.5. Wake Forest now. Over and under is 152.5. Matchup predictor has Duke 55.1. Wake Forest at 44.9. Filipowski leads the way for the Blue Devils at 16.9 a game. Salas for Wake Forest at 18.3. Filipowski in rebounds, 8.2 a game. Carr for Wake Forest at 6.9. Assist leaders, Proctor at 3.6 a game. And Miller for Wake Forest at 3.7. Team stats. Blue Devils averaging 80.5 a game. Wake Forest 79.4, so pretty close there. Points allowed, they're pretty close as well, as Duke gives up 67.2 a game. The Demon Deacons at 69.3. Duke's last 5, they beat Miami, they beat Florida State, beat Wake Forest, beat Boston College, and beat Notre Dame. The Blue Devils are gelling right at the right time of the year, guys. Coming up in late February and March is the best time to be playing basketball and gelling as a team, and that's what the Blue Devils are doing. Wake Forest last 5. Beat Pittsburgh. They lost to Virginia in a whopping 49-47. I'll take a nap ball game. Then they lost to Duke 77-69. Beat North Carolina State and beat Georgia Tech. Now, here's a stat that scares me, and me and Eddie talked about this before we went on the air. The Demon Deacons are 14-0 at home this year. And they average 34.2 points a game in the paint. Hunter Salas is averaging 7.2 of those 34 in the paint. Well, I don't care. With that being said, go Blue Devils, baby.
Yeah. We kind of woke y'all up. You hadn't lost a game since we put that whooping on you there in Chapel Hill, talking about North Carolina. Talking about Duke, but North Carolina woke y'all up, Y'all been, like you said, gelling at the right time. I think it was just we might have woke y'all up and got you a little mad way we handled you, But what it is we've got more experience and talent. And Wake Forest being at home, they've kind of played themselves into the tournament the last week and a half, 2 weeks. They've looked good the last 2 to 3 games they've played. Being at home, what you say they're undefeated at home this year. Yeah, they're mad because of the game they lost at Duke, and I think Salas.
It was a good game too.
Yeah, I think Salas has a big game, and I'm going to take Wake Forest.
Of course you are.
The
We knew
home
that.
favorite. The home favorite.
He can't go. Hey, he has a hard time picking Duke, but here you go, Eddie. You picked the Tar Heels. He can't even return the favor.
I couldn't make him change his mind.
I'm trying to win this pick. I'm trying to win this pick'ems contest, not.
But man, that 14-0 is scary. But y'all woke us up. We may not lose another game this year. It's all
That's
Blue
right,
Devils, baby.
It's Natty, baby. Natty's coming.
Hey, March the 9th, you guaranteed to lose another one. So there you go.
Hey, we got a surprise for you come March 9th, buddy.
It's gonna be ugly.
Yeah. All right, guys. Anything else we need to talk about?
Man, this is football. What do you think about the possibility of Laird Beach from Memphis coming to Mizzou? They said he's interviewing.
Yeah,
I heard that the other day, man. I don't know. I still can't believe Reed Francois left us like that, high and dry. But there's got to be more on the back scenes and what's being said, man. Because Arizona's in financial troubles, man. You just don't go and do what she did.
Well, Laird was a candidate before.
Yeah.
3 years ago or whatever when the other guy was hired. So
she's done a great job, man. She's gonna be hard to replace.
They said today he was high on the list, and Memphis is planning on him leaving.
Yeah, I heard that too. Memphis kind of one of those stepping stone jobs too, man. That like Arkansas State, Memphis, all those schools around here. Yeah. That's all they do, man. And we've had that for a long time, and I thought maybe finally we're getting people to stay, but this don't seem that way.
Yeah, lost a lot of coordinators and other coaches, and now your athletic director. So.
Yeah, you guys poached our coaches.
We poached 2 or 3 of them.
You got 3 of them. That shows you how good Mizzou is. LSU wants their coaches. I'm surprised we still got Eli, really.
Just on defense, just defensive coaches. We need a little help. We needed a little help there.
Yeah, look, that's how bad y'all needed help. You guys beat us, and then you go hire our defensive coordinator.
Right. That is bad.
I don't know, Eddie. What do you think about that guy at Memphis? I don't really know much about
him. Memphis is competing in every sport across the board right now, so that's always good. But he'll have more money and resources. He'll have NIL, everything options at Mizzou. So I'd go.
They just got a donation of $62 million, so they got money to play with. Mm-hmm. And I think that's another deal that they brought in this big donation of $62 million, and I think they added another oversight committee just for that money, and I think that kind of affected her, where somebody was trying to tell her how to do her fucking job, Of course, in my opinion, didn't nobody need to tell her because she's done a fantastic job. So I think that's a lot to do with it too, is them adding another committee as well. So, I mean, why do you need a committee to oversee another committee is what I don't see, because you got the board of curators.
It sounds like some creating an extra committee just spread some money around to me. But but yeah, that was an anonymous donation. That was nice. But I think whoever it was, she that donated, wasn't it earmarked at 51 of it million of so much of it goes to the football stadium and
50.
renovations. 50
50
million.
million.
Yeah. Or goes to the football program, maybe not exactly the stadium. But
50 to the football, and then 12 million to the rest of the athletic department. So
right. Yeah.
There's your priorities. Poor basketball team. Yeah. All right, guys, man, it's been fun tonight, man. I appreciate very special Friday edition. I like these Friday nights. Get to talk right before Saturday, before the big game. So we might try to do it again on some Friday nights, if that's okay with y'all.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Hey, all right, Eddie, man, I appreciate you joining us again. And Dougie, we will see you later.
I just want to say one thing before we go off the air. Go Heels, Tar Heels, baby.
See, I thought you was going to say go Wildcats for the ball. See, go Cooter, man. Come on.
Cooter, yeah. That too.
All right, man. We'll see y'all later.
Bye.
See ya.